Chinatown grand opening! Did that make your ears perk up? If so, this is a review not to be missed. We found a Chinese restaurant that opened less than a month ago and already has a line out the door from open to close. Today, I'm excited to take you inside the grand opening of what might be the hottest Chinese restaurant to hit Vegas in years, right in the heart of our fabulous Chinatown. Welcome to Season 3 of Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I'm an award-winning chef, and I like to joke that if there's one thing I know about food, it's everything. Ellie's Chinese restaurant opened just a few weeks ago, but word of mouth has already packed the place with Vegas foodies. This place is so new, there's not even a permanent sign out front yet. Just a tiny slot on the strip mall's marquee and a hastily attached grand opening banner. The food here is as authentic as it gets. The owner doesn't speak English and came directly from China, so don't try telling me there's no authentic Chinese food in Vegas. Right now, all the dim sum items in the menu are the same price, $5.99 each. This is a fantastic grand opening special, yes, but at any price, you'd be insane to miss out on the food. Okay, let's get started. I'll never forget the first time I tried these. My mom knew I shared her deep love of food and that I'd fall for these little treasures just as she had. They're packed with fresher than fresh shrimp, seemingly right from the sea, mixed with sharp aromatic garlic chives and a perfectly seasoned pork blend. It's almost shocking in its intensity. The exterior has a delicate crisp, and the filling so juicy, one bite sends a bright, rich burst across your fingers. Messy in the best way. So, must have been a full moon last night, as odd behavior was on display today. It began with the people next to us, who couldn't stop eyeing the chive dumplings we asked for. They'd just finished a few orders themselves, and one of the women actually tried to grab our dumplings right off the cart. The dim sum server practically slapped her hand away. Honestly, I can't blame her. After one taste, you'll be ready to fight for these too. We continued with one of our favorites, crispy fried pork dumplings, which we've nicknamed Little Footballs. They're a classic dim sum favorite that originated in Cantonese tea houses. Traditionally served during morning tea, they've been loved for centuries for their unique texture, crispy outside, chewy inside, and a savory sweet pork filling. The glutinous rice flour dough puffs up when fried, creating that signature football shape and bubbly golden crust. The filling at Ellie's is beautifully seasoned pork, garlic chives, garlic, and just a hint of Chinese five-spice. They're generously packed, juicy, and bursting with flavor. You won't need salt, though it's on the table if you want it. These are, hands down, some of the best fried pork dumplings I've ever eaten. Lotus leaf sticky rice. It's been a dim sum favorite for centuries. Likely originated in southern China's Guangdong province, where wrapping rice in lotus leaves was a way to infuse it with a delicate floral aroma while keeping it moist during steaming. In traditional banquet culture, these parcels were prized for their rich fillings and satisfying weight, making them a celebratory dish, as well as everyday comfort food. I usually don't like to eat the lotus leaf sticky rice until close to the end of my meal, since they'll usually end my appetite. As many of you know, we usually refer to them as little anvils, since they're always dense and very filling, but it's best to accept what's on the carts at the moment. Sticky, or glutinous rice, is a wonderful vehicle to work with. It's a blank canvas that blends beautifully with sweet or savory flavors. The lotus leaves are filled with a marvelous seasoned pork and shiitake mushroom mixture. They're balanced and delicious. I found myself unable to put these aside and move on. Without question, the best I've had in Vegas. Hargao, sometimes called crystal shrimp dumplings, are one of the oldest and most iconic Cantonese dim sum dishes. Traditionally, they were served in upscale tea houses as a delicate showcase of a chef's skill, because getting the skin perfectly translucent without tearing was considered the ultimate dim sum challenge. These are thought to be the hardest dim sum of all to make. It's an art to getting them just right. The skins should be thin and transparent, with almost a silver hue. You should be able to see the pink shrimp interior peering through to the outside. They should have absolutely no fishy odor or taste. When shrimp or any other seafood is fresh, It should have a clean flavor. These are wonderful, absolutely beautiful. Hargaos are great dim sum when made right, and these are perfect. They don't need any type of dipping sauce. They're pure, pristine goodness, and you'll love them. Made with just a hint of garlic, shrimp, and little else. Shumai has been a dim sum staple for centuries. Originating in northern China, it eventually made its way south to Guangdong, where it evolved into the now classic Cantonese version, an open-topped dumpling filled with pork and shrimp. Today, it's beloved worldwide, appearing now in numerous cultures and countless creative variations. One of the easiest dumplings to introduce to the dim sum novice, as it would be almost impossible not to love these. When I was a teen and my mom sneaked me out of the house to take me to my first dim sum adventure, I was taken aback by the strange new world to which she introduced me. I later fell in love with Chinese food and Asian culture, and even worked my first job in a fantastic Chinese restaurant where my mentor Rose called me her adopted son. Shumai were the first dim sum I ever tasted, and the first I learned to make in my apprentice days at my first job. A mixture of pork, shrimp, wood ear mushrooms, and garlic are blended to have one seamless flavor. It's beautiful. The skins are thin, and they're topped with a fish roe garnish. These are as delicious a shumai as I've ever tasted. Bold, in-your-face flavor, and not to be missed. Speaking of not to be missed, many of you are in danger of missing out on our new reviews, as according to YouTube, 80% of you watching right now are not subscribed. For shame! Subscribing is free, helps us grow, and to bring you more reviews. And if you find value in our reviews, consider making a small donation using the link to buy me a coffee in the description area below. We'd greatly appreciate it. Salt and pepper dishes are a Cantonese classic. Born in southern China, where light, dry fried seafood became a staple for highlighting freshness over heavy sauces. Calamari, when done right, turns into a crisp, airy bite that needs nothing more than garlic, chilies, and a sprinkle of salt to shine. And I have to mention somewhere just how wonderfully nice everyone is here. The manager, Jimmy, is a class act, buzzing from table to table, constantly making sure people are happy. And I also met the owner. She's very sweet, doesn't speak a word of English, but she even brought a translator along with her to our table. Okay, back to the calamari. It's so very fresh. It almost doesn't taste like fish. I usually avoid ordering salt and pepper calamari at dim sum because it can sit on the cart and turn rubbery. But here, served piping hot, shatteringly crisp, not at all greasy. It's seasoned to perfection with toasted garlic and delicate shreds of spicy green pepper. It's boldly salty, proudly peppery, and absolutely earns its name and a place in my heart. Squid ink dumplings have their roots in coastal Chinese regions where seafood is a staple, but their striking jet black color is a modern dim sum innovation. Squid ink, long prized in Mediterranean and Japanese cooking for its briny depth, has made its way into Chinese cuisine to enhance seafood dishes both in taste and presentation. These dumplings are as beautiful as they are delicious, like little perfectly wrapped gifts in black wrapping paper, an onyx lover's dream in edible form. Inside, you'll find a rich filling of garlic chives and scallops, creating a bold, vivid umami punch. For those unfamiliar, umami is the fifth taste, savory, found naturally in foods like tomatoes, garlic, cheese, seafood, and meat. This dim sum delivers it in spades, easily ranking among the best I've ever tasted. First created in China tea houses during the early 20th century, steamed rice rolls quickly became a dim sum staple. Their delicate texture and ability to hold countless fillings made them beloved across southern China and beyond. In Hong Kong, they're often served plain with a splash of sweet soy sauce, while in the US, they're more likely to come stuffed with shrimp, beef, or barbecue pork for a heartier bite. Rice flour is made into an Asian crepe-like batter and thinly fried, then rolled with whatever interior you wish. At Ellie's, they're uber fresh and have a beautiful texture. Light, never dense or rubbery, like a gorgeous thin rice noodle. The shrimp here are very fresh. They're the perfect briny sweet filling. Simple and delicious, topped with a light soy sauce. You'll love them. Steamed red bean buns have been a beloved treat in China for centuries, often enjoyed at breakfast or as a sweet dim sum dessert. The smooth red bean paste within is made from adzuki beans, which were introduced to Japan and became a popular filling in pastries and confections. My older sister lived abroad in Japan for a few years where she worked as a model. She told me that the whole time she was craving chocolate, and every time she thought she'd found it, it turned out to be red bean paste. When she returned home, she had the opposite problem. She couldn't find any red bean paste pastries anywhere in the US. I remember one cold winter day in LA, well, cold by LA standards, that is. She took me down to Chinatown. She had finally found a source for red bean and was so excited to introduce me to these same wonderful buns. Honestly, I fell in love with them the first time I tasted them, and I've craved them ever since. These are amazing. The bun is a lighter-than-air, steamed, yeasty masterpiece. They told me they make every element of all the dim sum here in-house, and I can tell. The red bean has a nutty, obscenely sweet, almost vanilla-like quality. I could eat these anytime, any day, and be very happy. A popular dim sum favorite, stuffed fried peppers, thought to have originated in southern China, where cooks began filling mild green peppers with minced seafood or pork as a way to use fresh market ingredients. I challenge anyone to find stuffed fried peppers better than these. I've made them countless times at home. They're deceptively simple. Just ground shrimp mixed with a little egg white, cornstarch, salt, and a whisper of garlic, all tucked into a hollowed-out pepper. They're then fried to a perfect golden brown, with the crisp shell giving way to tender, juicy seafood within. Each bite is a mix of savory shrimp, subtle spice from the pepper, and that irresistible crunch. Absolutely delicious. We swerved off the dim sum menu for a moment when we saw this dish delivered to the table next to us. It looked far too delicious to pass up. Silky vermicelli rice noodles are bathed in a sumptuous garlic-infused sauce, loaded with fresh white fish, shrimp, squid, and broccoli. Sort of a Chinese version of a pot pie. It's a dish with a loyal fan base in Asia, but one that many Westerners might find a bit too ocean-forward. That said, here the seafood is sparklingly fresh, with none of the off-putting fishiness that's ruined this dish for me at other restaurants. I will not mention the names to protect the guilty. At one such place, the smell alone nearly sent me running. Well, Ellie's is quite different. Spotless, with a fresh, clean feel that carries over to the flavors. The velvety sauce clings to the noodles, the seafood is tender and sweet, and the crispy rice cakes add a delightful crunch. It's an unusual combination, but if you're open to authentic flavors, it's worth a try. If you're hesitant, you might prefer its more Americanized cousin, crispy fried rice noodles with seafood, which delivers a similar satisfaction with a more familiar flavor profile. Baked barbecue pork buns have roots in Cantonese cuisine, where they're known as char siu bao. Traditionally found in dim sum houses, these soft, fluffy buns are filled with sweet and savory Chinese barbecue pork, a style of roasted meat that dates back to ancient China. Over time, the baked version became popular alongside the original steamed style, offering a golden, slightly sweet crust that pairs perfectly with the rich filling. These may be some of the best pork buns in Vegas. One bite, I had to call Jimmy over to ask him about them. I told him our viewers ask many questions, and I knew you'd all want to know if they make the pork filling themselves. The answer is yes, and it's fabulous. Much bolder than most I've eaten. So much flavor. The pork and other barbecue meats are all made in-house, and this is filled with the juiciest char siu I've ever eaten. And to go along with this amazing filling is the most perfect flaky crust. I could eat nothing but these. Maybe I'll come back and get a dozen of them to take home sometime and call it a day. They're not to be missed. Salt and pepper shrimp originated in southern China, particularly in Cantonese cuisine, where they became a banquet favorite for their crisp shell, bold seasoning, and festive look. Traditionally cooked and served shell-on, the technique keeps the shrimp juicy while giving the exterior a satisfying crunch, much like eating soft-shell crab. Over time, Chinese immigrants carried the recipe with them on their travels. It became a signature in Hong Kong-style seafood houses and Chinese restaurants across the globe. While we were waiting for Ellie's to open, we met a man outside who had just tried them for the first time a few days before. He couldn't wait to return and was meeting more friends here to introduce them to this new place. He said the salt and pepper shrimp are not to be missed. Now, for many of you, I know you'll prefer them peeled, but I'd like to challenge you to try them the way they're meant to be eaten, with shells and all. Think of them, as I said, as a soft-shell crab version of shrimp. I thought the best version of this dish was at the Wicked Spoon Buffet. It's fantastic and hugely popular item there, but this version, every bit its equal. The most important thing when making salt and pepper shrimp is using only the freshest shrimp. They're deveined from the back without opening them, so don't worry about the cleaning aspect. These are fried till crispy with plenty of toasted garlic, red pepper, and chives. Thanks to our friend we talked to before opening for recommending them. He's absolutely right. They're some of the best I've ever had. He even came by our table to ask how we liked them, and we told him if not for the fact that we were recording our review, we would have gotten many more orders. They are amazing. Born in the high-end hotels of Hong Kong in the 1980s, XO sauce is one of the most umami-rich creations you'll find and considered a luxury item. Named after extra old cognac, not because it contains any, but because the term screamed prestige. It quickly became the crown jewel of Cantonese cooking. With dried scallops, shrimp paste, garlic, and chilies, it was bold, briny, and packed with umami. It spread through Asia like wildfire. Here, those flavors are showcased in delicate house-made noodles, hand-rolled into tight little bundles, then pan-fried until their edges turn a deep golden char. The XO sauce is pure balance, rich and savory, without tipping into the overly fishy territory that shrimp paste can bring. Every bite is a flavor explosion. Silky noodles soaking up the sauce, crisp bean sprouts snapping through for contrast, and spicy chilies peppered throughout, delivering sudden electric jolts of heat. It's the kind of dish you find yourself thinking about days later. And while dim sum is the very epitome of communal eating, you'll end up guarding this dish like it's your own personal treasure, and I highly recommend them. And here goes that table next to us again. That same woman who tried to pilfer our chive dumplings now took another grab at our XO noodles. This time, though, she did get her hand slapped away by the server. I joked, we may have to call the dim sum police. Turnip cakes have been a dim sum favorite in southern China for over a century, especially in Cantonese cuisine. Traditionally made with shredded daikon radish, rice flour, and bits of preserved meats, they were a staple during Lunar New Year celebrations for their symbolic meaning of prosperity. Over time, they became a year-round favorite in Hong Kong tea houses and eventually spread worldwide. I absolutely love turnip cakes, and these are tremendous. So balanced, just the right daikon to starch ratio. They almost fall apart, but you can still pick them up with your chopsticks. They have tiny bits of Chinese sausage made right here in-house, brilliant, spicy little flavor bombs that make these some of the best you'll ever taste. I love the seared outsides. They have an almost potato pancake-like quality. What amazes me most is that nothing here at Ellie's even needs sauce or enhancements. It's perfectly seasoned as is. Sesame balls have been a favorite in China for centuries, dating back to the Tang Dynasty, where they were prized for their golden color and sweet filling during festivals. Traditionally stuffed with lotus paste or red bean, they've traveled across Asia and evolved into countless variations. At Ellie's, they're filled with the most wonderful golden yellow custard. I had these at Spring by China Mama and at Palette, and they're a sophisticated twist on the classic. Since they'd just opened, they didn't have my go-to lava buns this particular day, but these are every bit as good as any lava buns. Just be careful. The liquid lava egg custard oozes out and can burn you if you're not cautious. Honestly, I don't miss the lava buns. and I'd happily eat 100 of these. They're a sensational way to end a meal. Ellie's may be the newest kid on the block, but it's already acting like a seasoned champ. In less than a month, this place has gone from, wait, what place? To, wait up, let me join you. It's a full-blown Chinatown sensation, with lines out the door from open to close. And after eating my way through nearly the entire menu, I can tell you, it's not hype, it's the real deal. Every bite here tells a story. From the crackle of those golden football-shaped fried pork dumplings, to the rich, velvety XO noodles you'll be dreaming about for days, to the best char siu bao you've ever had. Ellie's is a masterclass in what dim sum should be. You get the skill of a chef who came straight from China, cooking the dishes you grew up with, and you taste the difference immediately. Fresh seafood that never smells fishy, dumpling skins so delicate they're practically see-through, and sauces balanced like fine art. And then there's the price. Right now, every dim sum dish is $5.99. Let that sink in. Some of the best dim sum you'll ever eat at prices that feel like they belong in a different decade. I've paid double this for food half as good. This is one of those rare moments in Vegas dining where you feel like you've stumbled into something special before the rest of the world has caught on. Vegas is a city full of restaurants that shout for your attention. But Ellie's doesn't need to do that. It wins you over the moment you take the first bite. If you love Chinese food, you'll be hooked. If you've never really explored dim sum before, this is your perfect starting point. Either way, go now before that grand opening banner comes down and the lines get even longer. This isn't just another restaurant opening. This is the start of a Vegas food legend in the making. And trust me, you're going to want to boast to your foodie friends that you were there at the beginning. Who knows? Maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!